Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Manic Monday edition of The Rundown. I am your host, Craig DeLuz, and as we always like to say, I don't do this program all by my lonesome.
No, you don't, sir. I kind of help. I do a little bit on the side. I am on the East Coast, on the right coast. My name is Mike Poworski, and I will be co-hosting today's program.
Excellent, excellent. Mike, how was your weekend?
Well, Craig, as you can tell, I have a little bit less facial hair than normal, which means my weekend was spent in government service.
Ah, training. What kind of training?
Army training, sir.
Excellent, excellent. Well, that is good to know. I also understand you had a chance to spend a little bit of time at the VFW on the way home.
Listen, the folks at the VFW, and if anybody out there is a veteran at all, they've actually really opened it up. I remember in my grandfather's time, my father's time, you had to be like a combat vet, like I am. There's millions of them out there, but the VFW has opened it up to basically anybody that served honorably as a veteran and can join the VFW. Same for the American Legion, same for many other organizations. So check with them. You may qualify and you may not know it for the camaraderie and for the ability to be involved in the community. And it's one of the reasons, the big reasons, I'm involved with the VFW.
I thought it was for the inexpensive drinks.
Oh, but I mean, come on, it's got its perks. I
mean, okay.
Listen, the drinks brought me in the door. The community service kept me there.
Big fan of the VFW and the American Legion. My father actually was a member of the American Legion.
There you go.
Always down. Mine was interesting. Went to our first my wife being East Indian, went to a big wedding. So an Indian wedding function, which is always fun because it's great food, lots of good music, open bar, family aware. The funny thing about in particular about when you go to an Indian wedding is it's like one person in the family gets an invite and brings the entire family. So although in this particular case they actually wanted us to RSVP, which wasn't very Indian, so clearly they are assimilating.
Now, for those out there, Craig, I want to make sure we're being politically correct. When you say Indian, you're talking about people from India, not Native American people.
No, most definitely. So yes, people who are from, their family history, their nationality is from India. My wife is actually from Fiji. Her family came from Fiji, so they were from India by way of Fiji.
That's amazing because I think my wife is from Hades. It's probably close, very near that place. It's just as hot from what I heard, but
Oh, I really was like, your wife is from Haiti? And then I was like, wait a minute, did he say Hades?
Hades.
Oh, wow.
It's a joke, and she's not watching, so it's okay.
Well, don't be surprised if someone drops her a Facebook message telling her she should watch this episode.
Yeah, well, it could happen. I mean, one day it could happen. I guess it could.
She might watch. Show up with a black eye, we'll know.
Listen, I did when we did the first 6 months of Arms Room Radio. I remember the three of us on the program. Myself, Earl, the great grandson of Daniel Boone. He's been on the program with us, and our attorney Kevin Maxwell. We all put the message out there that if any of our wives called into the show, they could get free jewelry. And it took 6 months for one of them to call in. 6 months. Wow. So you and I have only been doing this for 6 weeks, so we're safe. I think we're safe.
I think we're safe. They're going to let us work the bugs out first. All right. Well, let's get on with the program.
Banter over. Serious topic next.
All right, folks. We talk probably, if not 4 or 5 times a week, just about every episode, we're dealing with some sort of stupid nonsense relating to critical race theory, race, and racism on this show. And it's, don't get me wrong, we're not obsessed with race, but what we are obsessed with is some of the stupid and some of the idiotic policies that we're starting to see and that are trickling down, that are no longer stuck in obscurity in academia, but are actually having real-world, real-life impacts. Like in this case, where a school district in Massachusetts has decided that they were going to create these healing spaces, right? Except there's only one problem, is that they are segregated, and, well, white students are not allowed in the healing spaces. Well, because, their mere existence of their whiteness and their white privilege might cause someone to not feel safe and therefore not be able to heal. Well, a group of parents is actually on civil rights grounds is actually suing the school district, and I, for one, am tickled pink about it.
This is just hold on, hold on. When I hear this story, this is my reaction. Are we serious? I mean, really, really? Um, Listen, Craig. I know this is going up there in Massachusetts. This happened down here in Florida about 2 years ago. In fact, it's the second biggest university in the country. The University of Central Florida pulled the same kind of shenanigans. They came up with these safe places for minorities, or people of the acronym culture to go and feel safe. And they tasked the police with setting up those areas. And the police spent about a week going, no, we're not part of that. No. We are law enforcement. We're here to make sure everybody feels safe. And if you want a safe space for one, it's a safe space for all. So it's just another way that law enforcement actually stood up for it down here in Florida. But up there in Massachusetts, evidently they haven't figured that out yet, Craig. That one nation under God, equal. They forget that word equal there, right. And it may have taken us a little while to get to equal. Craig, you know what I'm talking about, because on the original draft of the Constitution, you were 3/5 of a citizen,
right? But you know why that was, right?
Yep.
Because we all, as anybody who actually studied history knows, it was simply because they didn't want to have the slave states, which wanted to count slaves as people, to literally have all the seats in Congress and control Congress.
Right. Yeah.
It was basically to limit the control that slave states could have over the federal government.
Yeah.
I mean, it's idiotic, and it's just so. I'm as I was reading through the story, I noticed. So this is the Wellesley Public School District. They actually sent out in an email. This is what it says. It says, "Note: this safe space is for our Asian American and students of color, not for students who identify only as white." Now, dude, first of all, so now Asian students aren't students of color. Why'd you feel the need to single them out? Or all other students. So in other words, if you're not a white student, if you are a white student, you are not a student of color. Now, I'm looking at you right now, right? I've seen you after you've had a few. Right now, you're kind of pinkish. And when you've had a few, you're almost red. I would say you are a person of color.
I am a person of color. My color just happens to be European, So I don't know what it is, but I am one of those, according to the state of Massachusetts, I am one of those acronym students. Just my acronym is SOL when it comes to them. I get nothing. I get nothing. So
nothing. No, you get absolutely no love. But this isn't the only sort of stupidity and madness that's taking place in our public schools. Take, for example, actually a school district not far from where I'm sitting right now in Sacramento, California. Well, they have suspended a teacher. And this is what the teacher did. So the teacher was teaching it was an English class he was teaching on propaganda, World War II propaganda and the use of symbols. And so what would you think, Mike, is probably the most significant symbol of World War II that was used in propaganda?
What do I think?
What would you think it would be?
The number one symbol would have to be the bastardization and the use by the Germans of the swastika emblem that they used, throughout the Nazi party.
Exactly. So he had a flag up during while he was teaching this class, and he had done it before. He did it every year when he taught this particular. It's a senior seminar, so this is a senior level course. So these are people who are about to go out into the world, and my guess is if they're learning about stuff like this, they're probably on their way to college, right? A student is walking by the classroom. Let me walking by the classroom, looks in the window, sees the flag, goes to the principal and complains. And the teacher now is suspended, and and they're doing a full investigation. And it was funny. So I saw this story, and I actually heard this interview of a couple of guys who host a radio show, very popular in Northern California. It's now nationally syndicated, called Armstrong and Getty. And they actually got the communications director for this district on the phone, and oh my God, they made her look so stupid. Just click on the link in the description of this video and just listen to the interview, and you will come to realize that basically what they're doing is they're once again trying to create a safe space, because we can't dare challenge kids with things that are controversial.
This is absolutely ridiculous. This is moronic, Craig. This is the equivalent of walking by the history class where they're teaching about the moon landing, and they saw the number 69 on the board and called it in for sexual improprieties in high school. It's that kind of stupid.
I don't know that I could have come up with a better example. Yeah, wow, that was good. But it's like it's just like it's the idiocy. It's like, if first of all, if you're going to be an adult, right, you're going to have to at some point or another deal with and confront challenging things. You're going to have to debate and hear ideas that you don't like or see things that you don't care for. And the only way in which you eliminate bad ideas, the way in which bad ideas are generally eliminated, is with better ideas. But
listen,
go ahead.
You.
Oh no, we're at a point now where you can't even, for example, if you say you voted for Donald Trump, people don't have to deal with why you voted. They don't care that you're a racist. That's why you voted for Donald Trump. They don't care about how he did with the economy. They don't care how he did with funding historically black colleges and universities, that he actually got prison reform done. They don't care that he brought jobs back to America. They don't care that for the first time median household income actually went up. They don't care because he's a racist. And by calling you a racist, they don't really actually have to deal with you.
You listen, this is exactly right, Craig. This is about 44% is the effective tax rate now, as opposed to 17 to 23%. For those of you in California, you're looking at about 57% the effective tax rate, even higher in New York City. This is about peace around the world. This is about the peace in the Middle East that was brokered amongst many, many nations. This is about $3 a gallon for gasoline. That's what this all is about. This is about politics. This is about ignorance, is what it's about. Because bad man orange, Trump derangement syndrome, we couldn't get, he tweeted bad things. Oh boy, then we need to do everything we can. This is about your ignorance, folks. This is about you looking and seeing, oh my goodness, there's a swastika. They must be teaching that, Germany bad or Germany good. I don't even know if Germany's bad or good, because I don't even know if I like Jews anymore because of what's going on with Palestine. But I know I'm going to file a complaint because I'm an ignorant, stupid SOB.
Yep. And that's all. It's like, that's what's frustrating to me is to realize that I'm like, look, I have no problem with people who disagree with me. I don't.
Right.
My whole thing is, you present your ideas and the facts that back them up. I'll present my ideas and the facts that back them up, and let the better ideas with the better evidence win.
Those are my ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you just offer someone a free drink and they're like, oh yeah, okay, whatever.
Hey, listen, you never turn down. Never mind. I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah, we're not going to go.
That's a different topic altogether. Yeah, that's a different topic.
But you get my point, man.
Yeah.
In the end, it's like, look, I love debate. I learn from debate, because I'm like this. If
Right.
I'm unable to poke holes in your ideas, or your evidence, well, then that means that I've now learned something, because hey, maybe that's true. Now I got to do some more research. I've learned something.
Yeah.
But if I never have the opportunity to hear something different, and that's all it is. I mean, schools nowadays are not about education. They're about indoctrination. They're not about teaching you how to think anymore. They're trying to teach you what to think.
Craig, I'm going to give you the prime example of how journalists and schools, colleges, post-secondary, and high school are teaching the art of debate. Craig, give me a topic. Present a topic to me, and then I'm going to give you my response.
Baseball is not really a sport.
Well, that's because you're a racist.
But I'm not a racist.
No, you're a racist.
I love you people.
I said it first. You're a racist.
But I love you people.
I know. I said it.
Some of my best friends are like you.
You said you people, so you're clearly a racist. Yeah. So
but you missed one point. The very fact that I denied being a racist is proof that I am a racist.
You're a racist. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. That's where we are. That's where we are in society, folks. That's literally where we are. Listen, if you look at journalism right now and you look at it and spend 2 moments looking at journalism, there is no real journalism whatsoever.
Well, I will give you another example of that whole denial thing, and it has to do with the gun owner's good friend, Senator Marco Rubio, who has gone out of his way to talk about how he supports the Second Amendment. But, and I love this. I love you, Mike. You always tell the folks what a Second Amendment but is.
Listen, when you say I support the Second Amendment, but you might as well say to me, listen, I support the First Amendment, but not for black people. Or I support the Fourth Amendment right
Right.
to due process, but not for Asians. That's what I
Right.
hear. But means I support it, but I don't.
Right, exactly. It's in other words, it's not an inalienable right, right?
Right.
And that's the thing. Is so he really doesn't believe it. And we all know with his push in particular, with Senator Rubio's push on they call them extreme risk protection orders. We call them red flag laws, or in California they're called gun violence restraining orders. Basically, it's gun confiscation, where you don't get your day in court until after they've taken away your guns and your rights. And our good friend Lee Williams, the gun writer, wrote an excellent piece about where he basically was responding to, or he was covering how one of the senator's constituents actually had written him a letter regarding some concerns about his bill, and then he kind of got back to him with a response that was basically, "I support the Second Amendment, but."
Listen, Lee Williams is a great journalist. I want to make sure I say that right. He's not a reporter. He's a journalist and a great investigative journalist. And maybe one day we'll get him to be on here to be our guest. But he's a true old school throwback to a great journalist. And he's talking about little Marco. And Marco Rubio. And this tears me up because Marco Rubio is down there. He's down out of South Florida. He's a Cuban heritage. And the Cuban heritage that is in South Florida, those that came from Cuba during the Castro oppression, during the Bay of Pigs, those are hardcore, diehard Republicans. Well, the second generation of Cubans that came through, or second generation of those that were born to them, became Democrats. It's just the sign of the times down there. They had things given to them. Now, the third generation of Cuban Americans are back to being Republicans. So Marco Rubio sits right on the fence there when it comes to Second Amendment. He's pro Second Amendment, but because of the second generation right in the middle, that's Democrat. So Marco is literally down there, and this is the same accusations that President Trump had against him, is that he's a sit on the fence guy trying to buy votes. And that's what's going on with the Second Amendment with him.
Well, exactly. And the thing that frustrates me is that there are few people who are able to communicate Republican values and our principles in a way that communicate beyond our base, right? That communicate to people who may have conservative leanings but have never considered voting Republican. He's a completely and utterly effective communicator. The problem is that when you start getting into issues when you start getting away from fundamental issues like this, like the idea that and you start pushing ideas and promoting ideas that undermine people's fundamental civil rights, it's hard for me to take you seriously as a conservative. I'm sorry, but it is. You don't get to just take away or infringe upon my rights. You don't get to just, I have a right to face my accuser, right? I have a right to my day in court. I have a right to not have you take my stuff without me being able to defend myself. I'm sorry, you just don't get to do that, little Marco. You just don't. And if you don't understand that, if you don't understand things like unreasonable search and seizure and why that's bad, if you don't understand why these things are so bad, then you know what? No, you don't deserve to be in elective office. Because if you can't take the time to understand that before you start infringing on people's rights, that there is no reasonable reason for infringing on law-abiding citizens' individual rights. If you don't see the problem with this dude, I'm sorry. No, there's something wrong with you. You're not just a Second Amendment, but you're a Second Amendment ass, or just an ass hat.
And he's not just that way with the Second Amendment. He's that way with much of the Constitution. Again, he is trying to appease all of the Hispanics in South Florida, minus, and not to single anybody out, but minus the Mexican culture. Mexican culture is not a predominant culture in in South Florida. So he's trying to take care of the rest of the Central and South Americans and the Islanders to keep their vote and to keep his seat in the Senate, which by the way is up for re-election here in 2022.
Well, and the interesting thing is, and this is the crazy thing, because Florida, once known as the gunshine state, literally has 2 senators who believe in gun confiscation. That's sad.
Listen, Rick Scott is a hack, a wannabe hack who who bought his way into both of his offices, into the governor's mansion and into the Senate seat. He voted for the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School Act that gave us the raised age of firearm purchase to 21 for all handguns and long guns. He gave us the red flag laws because he was trying to appease one group, Craig. He was trying to appease one group, and that was the media, so they would endorse him so he could win the Senate seat. And it was that close, but he won.
Right. And as a result, individuals can now just have their rights just taken away without even before they even have their day in court. And adults, grown men and women from the age of 18 to 20 no longer have a fundamental right to be able to defend themselves or to purchase a firearm to defend themselves.
Well, we talked about this before, right? Well,
Yeah.
in Florida, 18 to 20-year-old, you're not a person anymore.
Right.
17 and below, you're a juvenile. 21 and above, you're an adult. 18 to
Right.
20, you're just property, I guess.
Exactly. That's pretty much about how they've done it. But here's the thing. Now, the good news is, who knows? Maybe there's a good chance that he will be replaced. Kind of like they're going to be replacing the mayor of Pittsburgh. That's right. The steel town, the town known for steel, the Steelers, that tough town where the mayor decided he was going to be anti-gun and decided for some reason that he was going to ignore the state constitution and actually go and try and institute gun control laws there in the city of Pittsburgh. They got slapped down in court by our good friends over there at the Firearms Policy Coalition. Now it looks like during his reelection, it looks like, what's dude's mayor's name? Peduto?
Bill Peduto. Yep.
Yeah. He not only lost reelection, dude, he lost in the primary.
Yeah, listen, in addition to our good friends there at the Firearms Policy Coalition, I do want to give a little shout out to our friends there at the Trigger Pressers Union Local Number 1 in Pittsburgh. These guys, they've put up in Allegheny County, especially in Pittsburgh, put up a huge fight against everything that's anti-gun and anti-constitution and anti-American. So I want to say outstanding job to FBC and our good friends over there at the Trigger Pressers Union. This guy, Craig, just lost in the primary. Done, out, can't win. There's not much chance that the Republican contender is going to win. It is Pittsburgh. It is a Democrat stronghold, and the challenger, the primary challengers for this seat that have beaten out Bill Peduto, they are on how do we say it? They have not stated yet their Second Amendment positions. So they're being very cautious because they know that's the reason that Peduto lost.
Well, and here's the thing, though, Mike, and I have long argued that in some cases, especially in some of these more liberal cities where chances are you're not going to get a conservative. But if we just focused on just the Second Amendment and say, look, because here's the thing, the Second Amendment, or let's put this, gun control is not a primary issue for every Democrat. It's just not. And for some, it's more of an issue than for others. And if we would just look, I'm not saying you have to support somebody. I'm just saying once you start making it known that when people take unconstitutional stands against our fundamental right to keep and bear arms, we're going to get you out. Politicians are going to start thinking, I don't know if I want to step on that third rail. They're going to start, because then it's not a matter, it's not a matter of, look, yes, we do care about how they vote on other things, but if you're going to be specifically anti-gun, we're going to make sure that we get you out. And that seems to be what's happened in this particular case.
It is, and he lost that primary to Pennsylvania State Representative Ed Gainey this past week. So it's State Representative Ed Gainey that is now the favorite to become the new mayor of Pittsburgh.
There you go. Love it, love it, love it. So, folks, keep that in mind. If you're in an area like I am, I'm in California, Sacramento, California. I'm literally in the belly of the beast behind the Iron Curtain known as the Sierras. But if we were to band together and just say, look, all right, you're going to be Mr. Mayor, Mr. Assemblyman, you're going to be anti-gun, we're going to spend a whole bunch of money just to make you look bad. And whoever gets elected gets elected. And we'll make it known. And when people see how much money is spent, then they're going to think twice. They're going to be like, why do I want to poke that bear?
Yeah, exactly right. And using California as the example there, Craig, our next story is also out of California. Some incredible points of view here on certain, and I'm gonna let you take this away on some certain, what do we call it, mood enhancing substances?
Yes. So in the state of California, they're going to be decriminalizing certain drugs. Those drugs are going to include LSD, MDMA, hallucinogens, psychedelic drugs. Basically, their goal is that they're saying, well, we have a drug epidemic, and so because people are committing crimes surrounding drugs, well, let's just decriminalize drugs, and all of the crime will go away. And this bill has actually made it through. It's made it through the subcommittees, and it's now going to be voted on the state Senate floor in the state of California. That basically the only thing that I don't see on here is cocaine and crack and meth.
Yeah, everything else is in there. Like you said, it's got MDMA, it's got LSD, it's got everything else that gives you that purple haze. By the way, my boy Jimmy, I don't know if you can hear that or not. This is ridiculous. How can California decide? Listen, it's unhealthy for you to go outside right now and eat in a restaurant indoors, but MDMA, LSD, ketamine, go ahead. Yeah, it's fine. Good to go. Go ahead.
It is beyond stupid, but it's all consistent with their goal of decriminalizing crime. See, you notice one of the things that no one talks about when all this, not no one on the left talks about, there's all of this increase in murder, increase in crime, and all of that. We're seeing crime go up for the first time in decades, right? But here's what happened in the 1990s when we were getting tough on crime. The crime bill that Biden was apologizing for.
Right.
You do know that crime started going down when we started putting more police on the streets, when we gave them more resources, when we had stiffer penalties for crimes, especially for repeat offenders, right? So now as we're pulling back the mandatory minimums, as we're pulling back on supporting law enforcement, and now we're taking cops off the street and giving them less resources, all of a sudden murder is going through the roof. Violent crime is going through the roof. And they're saying that property crime is there's not more property crime. That's because you guys it's not a crime anymore.
Right. Here's what I don't understand. If I don't want there to be violent crimes, and I don't want there to be the drug crimes, and I don't want there to be property crimes, I'll just eliminate the drug crimes, the property crimes, and the violent crimes. Well, if I don't want there to be gun crimes, why don't I eliminate?
Exactly. Let's eliminate the gun laws.
No, we're going to make more. We're going to make more.
Right. Exactly. If you want something to not be bad, then decriminalize it.
Yeah.
How about we decriminalize the owning of firearms? I'll tell you just a little story on this. I was talking to a member of the local police department. He was telling me how in the city of Sacramento, they have a policy. And the policy basically is that the law enforcement cops are not, if they're just destroying property, they are not allowed to intervene. They're allowed to just let it happen. But if protesters are threatening someone or someone's in danger, then they can intercede, right?
Right.
Well, protesters went to the mayor's house here in Sacramento, and they were tearing up the house. They were cutting down trees and bushes. They were spray painting the house, and the mayor called the cops. And when the cops came, he asked the incident commander, "Why aren't you guys doing anything?" And they said, we have a policy, and that policy is if it's vandalism, we can't do anything. And
right.
They're not really doing anything. And I'm like, yeah, see, that's what happens. Because here's the thing. There's a certain group of people out there, a certain percentage of people out there who, quite frankly, the only reason they're not doing bad things is because they know that they might face repercussions for doing those bad things. When you remove the repercussions, most people I do believe are decent people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But there's enough people out there who are bad actors who you remove the disincentive, they are going to do bad things. Period.
Absolutely right. Listen, it's basic child psychology. Listen, if you touch the stove, you're going to burn your hands. You know, it's really going to happen because the stove is hot. Well, what if it's not really a stove and there's no chance of them getting their hands burnt and they touch it and then there was no repercussions? Well, for the rest of their life now, it's just, well, there's no repercussions. You can tell me I can't do it, but if there's no repercussions, guess what? I'm going to continue to do it. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to do what I want because I'm entitled to do it. And that's what I'm going to do.
And that's what this generation right now is all about. I'm going to do what I want because what I think, what I believe matters, even if it's not reality.
Yeah.
And
Even if I have no experience with it whatsoever, no knowledge of it whatsoever, I read it on the internet. So I'm going to do it.
Exactly. Well, speaking of the internet and this, I think this kind of leads me into our parting shot here. I think you guys will all kind of will all kind of enjoy this one. So when you're on social media and you put something out there and you just think, I'm just putting this out there because it's it's my opinion, and well, then this is what happens. Me, I prefer mangoes to oranges. Random person, and you all know and have experienced random person. So basically, what you're saying is you hate oranges. You also failed to mention pineapples, bananas, and grapefruits. Educate yourself. I'm literally shaking.
I love the I'm literally shaking part. Oh my God, I'm literally shaking. I'd also like to speak to a manager. Oh my goodness. Ridiculous.
But dude, it's like, okay, so first of all, you said that I said something I didn't say. Number one. And then number two, you brought up a whole bunch of stuff that really has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to insult you and, tell you how I feel. Because knowing how you feel makes it valid. Because it made you feel bad, clearly I was in the wrong.
Yeah, listen, speaking of insulting you, I want to remind you that coming up this Friday, we're giving away a couple of parts. And by insulting you, I mean our prices are so low, you'll think we're insane.
Right there.
Because we're giving them away for free on Feedback Friday.
Right. So we have something from Gorilla Machining.
This is Gorilla Machining.
And then over there, way over there, that dude right there, that's from Grid Defense.
Grid Defense, Gorilla Machining. We want to thank everybody for sticking in with us this past Friday/Saturday for our live feedback. Getting that little live feedback portion working has really been tasking the gremlins on our computers. We promise we'll have it straightened away pretty soon. We want to thank Austin for participating and winning.
Yes.
One of these.
Austin is the man. Austin is the man.
Yep.
And by the way, just so you know, they are legal in California. You just, before you
Yes.
can actually turn it into a firearm, you have to get a serial number. So for those of you who are wondering, yeah, that's
Correct.
kind of the law in California.
Correct. So
just so y'all knowed.
I did look it up. Same for New York State. However, in the state of New Jersey, can't have one at all.
Nope. Sorry.
Yep. But that's all right, New Jersey. You got all them syringes on the beach. That makes up for it.
I think the governor should have to walk the beach. I think politicians should have to walk the beach barefoot every election cycle.
Sure, they should. I agree. Let's
With
do
the
it. Let's get them out.
syringes.
Yep. Shirts off too. Let's do it.
Shirts off. There you go. Okay.
Get out there.
All right,
Get out
folks.
there.
Hey,
What's the situation here on the beach in Jersey?
in Jersey. All right, folks. Well, hey, that's going to be it for this edition of The Rundown. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember, like, share, subscribe, subscribe. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. I'd encourage your friends to do the same.
Follow us there. Follow us the other place he said, and follow us the last place he said. And we'll see you on Taco Tuesday.
See you on Taco Tuesday.